If China requested to pacify Donald Trump Card's always present wrath at its trading excess in the joint state, the newest trading figures win job to tranquility him downward. But how was more than rather than displacement by the though greater fall in China's imports. Analysts had been waiting a 5% growth in China's imports of the otherwise of the planet. Instead of, they got a 7.6% drop. The distinction among the sum China sells and the sum it buys, the trading excess, how so excites the U.S. CEO's anger, grew greater. In reality, the more than the U.S. CEO fulminates on China marketing the U.S. far more than rather than it buys, the more than it seems to go versus him. By the end of recent year, China exported $324 billion more than in consumer goods and services to the U.S. rather than it imported. How's a recording excess, more than rather than a block greater rather than it was up Mr. Trump Card came to force. The attention of Mr. Trump Card's ire has mainly been how China is marketing the U.S. more than rather than it should, time with unjust tool to range U.S. imports. Therefore the titmouse for tat trading warfare, regularly aborted by negotiations. But the figures allocate a more profound anxiety on the sum party of the trading balance sheet, how China consumer just aren't purchase quite of nobody, household or overseas. Prices are hardly growing. At the plant valve, they were up just 0.9% at the recent calculate, slower rather than anticipated. The testimony is installation how China's economics is retarding more rapid rather than each its rulers or the otherwise of the planet expected. How anxiety knocked together the markets on Monday, fair as it did while POM announced a slowing in consumer demand recent year or while Jag Earth Wanderer, JLR, cut jobs recent 1 week, partially induced by China's slowing. China's usually qualified officials are aware of the issue and include already undertaken several humble measures to resist it by incentive consumer demand. Recent 1 week, for sample, the human beings' banking of China eased the equity requirements how lot its banks include to set towards for each lending they do. How, in theoretical, would produce $117 billion, £91 billion, connected up in banks to be great lent in the economics, but just if down there is consumer demand of borrowers such as business community to adopt. And how in rotate depends on enterprises creature confident they can do cash by making so. Future incentive measures are anticipated in the following few weeks. Will it job? With the finance collapse of 2008, China's management has desired to hold up its step of economical increase via a large extension of credit. Obligation as a ratio of the economics has soared, of 140% of GDP in 2007 to almost 260% currently. Infrastructure facilities conducting has mushroomed, in thousands of miles of new railway and many decades of new subterranean system and airports built. China's economics is utilized to a considerable and routine dosage of incentive. The expect must be how it isn't yet days to it.